What's up, my fellow writer friends? Today is a very exciting day because I am going to be sending in my third batch of queries to try and get a literary agent to try to get my book traditionally published, and I'm going to do it in real time and talk you through the process, how it goes, what website you use. Not everything about the entire process, because I did talk about that in a different video, so you can watch that, but I'm going to show you what to expect if you are going to be entering the querying world. I'm not going to show names or agencies or stuff like that for the sake of privacy, but I'm going to walk you through what I'm doing, what I'm submitting. I'm just going to talk through all of it, and we're going to query agents together. Alright, so while I get my stuff set up, let's chat a little bit about what's already happened in my querying journey. I sent in 10 queries on April 26th. I've heard back from 3 of those people from that first batch. All form rejections, meaning everyone else that queries them gets that same kind of rejection. If it's a form rejection, it's not personalized with any feedback on like how to improve or what they didn't like or anything like that, which is very common. I sent out my second batch on May 27th, so not that long ago, just a few days ago. I already heard back from one agent, but it was a rejection. I can handle the rejections and somebody passing on my work, and it doesn't make me feel bad about myself, and I'm not upset or sad or anything like that. I know the realities and the statistics of getting an agent are, but that's okay. I'm having fun. I'm having a good time, whether or not it's a rejection. Just to even be able to just write a book and say, you know what, I'm going to try to get this traditionally published is a really cool feeling. And even if it doesn't work out, I tried. And I tried my hardest, and I put my effort into it. And I'm going to make it work. But if it doesn't, you know, it's everything is a learning experience. Of course, my tune may change in 6 months if it's only been rejections, but for right now, I'm doing all right. So let's talk through it. I'm not going to show you the screen because, again, protecting the privacy of the agents and the agencies, and that's not really stuff that y'all need to know. But I'm going to open Query Tracker. Now, I have all of my, it is .net. I thought it was .com, but it's .net. This is not a great angle for me, so, you know, just be nice about it, okay? Please be nice about it. So I went through all of the agents in the US and the UK that represent fantasy and adult fantasy, and I put them in 3 groups. A green group, which is the agents that I thought I had my best chance with. A purple group, which I thought kind of could go either way, kind of a medium strength possibility. And then yellow was usually for agents that were pretty vague about what they were looking for. If they just said, I represent fantasy and sci-fi and whatever, but they didn't really niche down into exactly what they were looking for, I would put them as yellow, which was just kind of a maybe, a possibility. I took all of that and I created a spreadsheet. I used Google Sheets, which is what I'm opening now. And I put numbers next to them. I put a lot of information on this sheet, actually. But I took everybody in the green category, split them up, green US, green UK, and then I went through and looked to see who responded the quickest, because I just wanted to get some quick responses for my initial batch. And I did. I got a rejection a day later, so it worked out. But I'm going 10 at a time because it does take a while to query everybody. So I separated it now. They have numbers next to them, a 1 or a 2 if they were in my first batch or my second batch, so I know who I queried. I heard back from one person yesterday, and it was a form rejection, so I'm going to change their name on here to red. I'm using red for rejection because, you know, it's just a classic, you lose, boo, go cry about it. So let me see, I've got her in two places. There she is. So I'm going to change that to red. Alright, and first I went by who responded the quickest, just so I could hear back and kind of get momentum. And then my second batch, I just started going down the line. So I got a mix of UK and US, but I'm just going to keep going down the line and clear out the greens. I talked about in the other video that sometimes agents will periodically close to queries, so I put that here in my spreadsheet. I looked up 2 agents the other day, and so I put closed to queries as of 5/26. 5/26 was the day that I checked on it, not the day that they closed. But I know if a month has passed or whatever that I can go back and look at them because they might have reopened. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more greens left. Apparently I mixed a couple things together, but okay, so let me go for the next green that pops up, and I'll walk you through my process of this. I'm gonna go into Query Tracker. I'm gonna go to my dashboard and type in their name, and it'll pop up automatically when you type some of it. So she is on here. You can see their last activity, which was April 4th, so that's like a month and a half ago. For her, it says average request time is 66 days, average reject time is 103 days. So it may be a while till I hear from her, if I do hear from her. But that shouldn't stop you from applying. So I always like to click on the website, the literary agency's website that you can find on Query Tracker. So then I go up here, find the agents, and I look for the person that I want to query. I'm going to her page right now. Submission requirements. Please follow the instructions on the agency submissions page. Ooh, did she have this book? I think I have that book actually on my shelf. So it'll show if they've books that they have represented. Oh, yeah, I know this book, and I think a lot of y'all would know this book too. But again, privacy, so I'm just gonna keep it. So let's see what I'm gonna read her bio, what she's looking for. A big thing is some agents will put what they do not want to see. If they don't want police procedures, if they don't want gothic fantasy, whatever so pay attention to what they don't want, because you don't want to query someone who is not accepting what, like, you don't want to waste your time and you don't want to waste their time. But usually they'll have, if they represent adult and YA, it'll have both on here. So it says what she's looking for adult, speculative fiction, spy novels, fantasy, world building, all that kind of stuff. Horror fiction, epic fantasy. Now, I know she is a green because I put her as a green, which means I've already done this check, but you always want to do a check again to make sure that nothing has changed and then you screwed up. Okay, so it says follow the instructions on their submissions page. So I'm going to go to submission requirements. Submissions should be sent via Query Manager, which is through Query Tracker. Unless otherwise listed, please refer to each agent's page to see if they're currently open. So I'm going to click her. Yes, she is currently open. And then it'll say, so she represents graphic novels and adult and YA fiction. So it says here, for prose authors, paste your query letter into the space provided with your sample pages. So Query Manager will have questions on there and it'll tell you what to submit. I can restore my answers from the last time because a lot of times there are very similar questions here, so it will restore my name, my email, so I don't have to do that again. Questions like, have you ever been represented by an agent before? No. Have I published other books? Yes. That does count for self-publishing. It doesn't just mean, hey, I've had a literary agent and I've been traditionally published before. It does count for self-publishing, so I put yes. I have been seeing, like, is AI used in any part of creating this book? Yes or no. I've been seeing that question a lot more. My title, my word count auto-populate because I'd already saved this since I've submitted to other agents. Genre, so she's got fantasy or epic fantasy as the only 2 fantasy options here. So it auto-populated for fantasy, but you always want to double check because if they niche down, like, oh, I want epic fantasy, I want gothic fantasy or whatever, then you might have to change that. So the query letter auto-populated. I'm just gonna make sure that I have her name spelled right, because that's the last thing you want to do is query someone and use the wrong name, or like leave a name that auto-populated from the last query that you sent. So I swear I look at this about 15 times to make sure it's correct. Okay, spelled it right, correct name. I have my query letter populated there. Let's see, the next question, is this book currently published or has it ever been published? No. Paste the first 10 pages of your book. One thing I would highly recommend before you even start this process is to create a folder, and I called mine query forms, and I separated it into what I knew a lot of agents were asking for based on what I've seen, the research that I've done, and the other people that I know that are in the querying process. So I would save a document with the first 10 pages, the first 20, first 3 chapters. I have my query letter as a doc. All of these are Word docs. Hi, Daisy. My dog just came up the stairs, so she's heavily panting now. Full manuscript, the synopsis, everything's set up so that this is easy, because a lot of it is copy and paste. You're not uploading the actual link to your Word doc. Here, I'm opening up my Word doc that has my first 10 pages. Copy that. Then we're going back to Query Tracker. If I can use my mouse right, that would be cool. Now it'll do the formatting for you. It formats in kind of a weird way where there's no indentions or anything, but there's spaces in between. Just leave it alone. It's gonna look wrong, but it'll say it up here that like it does the formatting for you. I just scanned through that real quick just to make sure nothing freaked out while I was copying and pasting. So that's all she wants, is she just wants, let me double check. For prose authors, paste your query letter into the space provided, and same with your sample pages. Okay, all of that looks good. First 10 pages, all of that looks good. That's all she's asking for, is those 2 things. So at the bottom it'll say submit your query. You can save it as a draft or submit. I'm gonna hit submit. It's gonna ask me to put in my email address again to make sure it sends it to the right place. And then you get this link, and it says your query status page is now available at, and then it gives you a link. I'm copying that. I'm gonna go put it in my spreadsheet next to her name. So let's see, 3rd batch of queries. She's the first one that we've done. So I have it separated where I will either put that link from Query Tracker, or some agents do direct email queries from their agency website. So I've got that link here next to her name. All right, she is good to go. Now, once you submit, that box will pop up that gives you that link to Query Tracker to be able to check the status. But there's also a little box that says message from the agent. So she says she tries to respond to queries within 12 to 18 weeks, which is a pretty long time, but the timeline may be longer depending on how many she has. She does say here, all queries will receive a response, so no need to nudge, but update if you receive an offer in the meantime. That is something I've seen a lot of. If you haven't heard from an agent, but you get an offer of representation, like say I got an offer today and I had outstanding queries, to let those agents that I queried know that I have another offer. They can leave a message there so you know what to expect. I like to also copy this and put it in my spreadsheet so that, because I'm not going to remember. I have like a few of these here of the timeline. I have 8 to 12 weeks up here. I have response time for everybody else. I'll respond to everything, things like that. That one was pretty easy. So let's do another one together. I forgot to put my microphone on so I could give y'all better audio quality. See, this is what I'm talking about. Not aesthetic, not professional. This is Ghostwriter requesting permission for a flyby. Negative Ghostwriter, the pattern is full. I don't know if he says permission for a flyby or if he just says requesting a flyby. I should know that. I should know that. Okay, here we go. Is that better? Can you hear me now? Talk to me, Goose. I haven't even watched Top Gun recently, so I don't know what all this is about, but you know what? I do know what it's about. This is me. This is me. Hello world. Any Saddle Club fans out there will know that. And I love you. I'm a horse girl, so I'm hoping there's more Saddle Club fans out there. I'm putting a 3 by her name because she's in my 3rd batch of queries. Now I'm going to go here to the next person. I accidentally exited out of Query Tracker. Classic me. Alright, type their name. Sometimes I've noticed too that agents aren't showing up, and I also wrote down on my spreadsheet what agency they work for, and I have to go to that agency's website and then find them. But then when I click on the link from the agency website, it'll take me to Query Tracker. But I can't find them directly on Query Tracker, so I don't know what's going on, but whatever. Anyway, so here we go. A long request time and a long reject time. It will also tell you the percentage of the request rate, like out of how many requests they get or manuscripts that they get sent, how many they request. This person only requests 0.4% of the queries that are sent to them. It's a tough gig, just letting y'all know, just letting you know. Again, I'm going to go to the agency website and I'm going to look up, go to the agents here, found her. Going to reread her bio here. Alright, so she's got her bio, a couple things that she's looking for. There's no direct submission button on here. So there's almost always a submissions category on the website though, so I click that. How to query. We accept queries via Query Manager, which is what we just did. See below links for pages with what each agent. Okay, notes. Only query us for fiction when your manuscript is complete. Do not query an unfinished book. That's an automatic rejection. If your book's not done, you don't need to be querying it. It's got a direct link to her from Query Manager. I'm going to go back to the website again just because I'm a freak and I have to make sure. Ooh, this agency published Leigh Bardugo's book, The Familiar. That's pretty cool. That's a big deal. I still haven't finished reading Six of Crows. I watched Shadow and Bone and I loved it. And I'm mad that they canceled it, but I haven't finished reading Six of Crows yet. But I really love Leigh Bardugo's writing style and her vivid imagery. I'm going to go through, read her bio since I'm talking and I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Hey, she's from Texas. I'm from Texas. I'm not going to open with that. Well, howdy now. Have I got a book for you? Back on Query Manager, Query Tracker, whatever. Auto-populate my responses, my biography. So their Query Manager will be a little bit different. Like the biography section was not auto-populated in the other one. It's part of my query letter, but this is just a section of like a couple, 2 or 3 sentences. Book title, query letter, make sure I change the name from the person that we just queried. Go look at it 18 times to make sure I spelled it right, because that would be embarrassing. Okay, I clicked fantasy, and she's got fantasy under genres to choose from. Fantasy, fantasy magical realism, fantasy urban fantasy. So again, mine is fantasy with a romantic subplot. It is not romantasy, and those two things are different because the position of the words changes things. Romantasy, with romance being in the front, means it is a fantasy book that is more romance heavy, versus mine is more fantasy in general with a romantic subplot. It's very rare that I've actually seen a genre on here say romantasy. Sometimes it'll just say romance, other times it'll just say fantasy, or it'll have like subsections of fantasy, but you always want to double check to make sure that what your genre auto-populated is the best option from their drop-down menu. Query letter, that populated. Comparable books, in its own little section, that populated. First 10 pages, good. So I have the exact same thing as the previous one. I'm not having to go in. I'm still checking it to make sure that it is the 10 pages and not more. This one was easy too. Normally it's not this easy. I've had a lot of send direct to their email, and you have to do like 10,000 words, so I have to go in and I have to look and be specific, but these two have been very easy. So I've got my bio, query letter, first 10 pages, submit. Put my email address again. All right, so I'm going to copy and paste that link where I can track the status of my query. Go put that in my spreadsheet. I'll go put a 3 by her name. The note, where is it? Note from the agent. If you don't hear from me within 8 weeks, it means that I'm passing on your work. Another common response to do a time frame. They're so overwhelmed with queries too, so sometimes that's just the way that it is. But I'm gonna highlight that part of the 8 weeks. So I ran out of storage space before I finished doing that, but I queried the last agent on here, and hers was a bit more complicated, so I wish I could have shown you that. But she had a direct link to her email, and she requested a query letter, the first chapter, and she asked if you have self-published before to put a link to your previous self-published books. So I put my Amazon link, put my Amazon link on there, and we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So if you'd like to give me a good review on any of my books, that would probably really help me. Maybe, I don't know. But this is me closing off this video, and I don't have a sign off yet, so I'm just gonna say, see you next time.